In this segment of today's class, I'd like to focus on the American Revolution as part of a wave of democratic revolutions that were initiated, some would argue, with the English revolutions of the 1600s. And we can't go into that now, but there was some very radical stuff in those uprisings and insurgencies in England. The revolution in England resulted in pushing back the power of the king and establishing the power of Parliament. And at least from the standpoint of some of the combatants, the power of the people. The English Revolution is one important component of that wave. The American Revolution is another component of that wave of democratic revolutions. An even more radical variant of that took place in France, beginning in 1789, the French Revolution. And in point of fact, this wave of democratic revolutions has continued through the 19th century, through the 20th century, down to our own time. Now, the English Revolution did not result in rule by the people. Neither did the French Revolution, and neither did the American Revolution. So, in what sense were these revolutions democratic? And I would argue in three senses. One was it involved, in each case, masses of ordinary people participating in bringing about major political changes, actively participating in bringing about major political changes in government, and changes in laws, and so on. In the older society, in traditional society, people like us, ordinary people, would defer to our betters, those who were better than us, the kings, the monarchs, and the hereditary nobles. They were the ones who made these kinds of decisions, not people like us, not the commoners. So it was democratic in the sense of involving masses of people in helping to bring about major change, actively, not simply following orders, but actively participating in bringing about change. Democratic in that sense. Democratic in another sense, in that in order to mobilize masses of people, what generated their participation were democratic ideas and ideals. And I'm going to talk more about that in a moment in regard to the American Revolution, but we can find the same thing in the English revolutions of the 1600s and of the French Revolution, very definitely, and in all of the future democratic revolutions. Another aspect of there being democratic revolutions is that they provided inspiration and influence for future struggles, for further struggles. For example, I've emphasized that the United States, when it was established, was a republic, but it was not a democratic republic. But people who were struggling for their rights, struggling to have a greater say in the decisions that affected their lives, simply the basic elementary right to vote. Such people drew on the example of the American Revolution in order to make the country more democratic. And the English Revolution had a powerful influence on the American Revolution, and the American Revolution had a powerful influence on the French Revolution and other revolutionary struggles, and of course the French Revolution the same. And in particular, the democratic ideas and ideals of these revolutions. An example of this, a human example of this in regard to the American Revolution, was Tom Paine, who was from the lower classes in England and then came over to the colonies of North America, British colonies of North America, actually to Pennsylvania. And he was a radical. He was a radical who was influenced by some of the radical democratic ideas and ideals that had been advanced in the English Revolution. They had been realized, they hadn't been won, but they were there influencing people who came in later generations, such as Tom Paine, who then brought some of that stuff over to the New World with him. I said that Paine was radical, and I think it might be useful to identify what I mean by that. Radical, to be radical, some people think, oh, well, he's crazy, a fanatic, or violent, or something like that. And for some people, yes, democracy is radical and it's scary and so forth and so on. But radical literally means to go to the root of something. What are our problems? Well, our problems are not just that the ruler is making bad decisions, but that there is a ruler over us and we don't have the ability to make the decisions ourselves that are going to affect our lives. That would be a radical critique, going to the root of things. And Paine was certainly a radical in that sense. In the videos that you're watching, there's more discussion of Paine. I want to stop now and start a second segment of these videos to finish this discussion of the radical aspects of the democratic aspects of the American Revolution.